You know, every time we bring a flame to the bowl, we sticken it to the man. Welcome to the Tainted Tavern.
Oh, coming to the Tainted Tavern, come raise a glass with me. We may not put the world to right, but we'll sure give it a go.
Okay, today I'm smoking one of my old Petersons. It's a Peterson system pipe, number 31, with the P-lip. This was an estate pipe that I purchased several years ago, and it's a fantastic smoker. And in here I'm smoking a tobacco which is mostly made up of Pessi Canoe Latakia 40, but it's got some other type of tobacco leaves in with it. I subscribe to the Sherlock Holmes method, as I think of it, in that Sherlock Holmes used to famously, now here I am talking about Sherlock Holmes as if he was an actual historical person rather than a fictional character, but that's part of the game. And Sherlock Holmes enthusiasts, Sherlockians, Holmesians, all play what they call the game. And the game is that when they talk about Sherlock Holmes, they consider him to have been an actual, real, living person. So when I talk about Sherlock Holmes, I do know that he's a fictional creation. And what I was saying, Sherlock Holmes used to famously, after every pipe of the day, he'd scrape out the dottle of the pipe and put it one side. And the following morning, he'd use that dottle as his first smoke of the day. Now, I don't do that. I think that's rather disgusting, actually. And I don't think that would taste very nice at all. But what I do, Sherlock Holmes used to keep his tobacco in a Persian slipper. I have got this little tin here with an image from the Hotspur and Hornet comic from 1973 when it's 5p, and I actually remember buying that issue with King Cobra there. And what I do when I'm filling a bowl of pipe tobacco, I'll take out the pipe tobacco, I'll put it in a tray, check if it's too damp, the consistency of it, so forth. If it's a flake, I'll rub it out. Then I load up the pipe. Now anything else left in that tray goes into this tin here. So this is virtually all Latakia 40, but there is some other flake in here. There's a bit of a Peterson early morning in here. Just leftover little pieces from the tray that didn't go in the bowl at the time. So that's just the Tainted Tavern's Sherlock Holmes method. But what I want to talk about today is how I said in a previous video that, in a way, as a pipe smoker in the year 2026, we are very much, all of us, civilized anarchists, because we buck in against the system. We are disobeying the rules that are coming out from on high, from government. We're not being violent. We're puffing away at our pipes, taking all of the benefits from that. The meditative qualities, slowing you down in an increasingly fast-paced world, the relaxation, we're taking all those benefits, but we're also ignoring the hysteria that has grown up around smoking over the last 20, 30 years. I mean, I can remember the smoking ban first coming in, and I'm talking from a UK perspective, so I think it was 2007, and we actually had the smoking ban, which, and perhaps I should explain what the smoking ban is in the UK for people from other countries watching this video. But basically the smoking ban in the UK meant that you can't smoke in any public places except for designated smoking areas. Although the movement has gone, the anti-tobacco movement now has gone so far that they're even trying to stop there being designated smoking areas anywhere. So a public house, for instance, a tavern such as my own virtual pub here, you can't smoke inside, but there could be shelters, smoking shelters outside. That's what we call them over here, smoking shelters, and it's usually just an area outside the pub with sometimes with a tin roof over it, but it's not boxed in. The walls are open, and you can smoke in there. But there was a movement last year. A bill went through Parliament, and the British government were trying to outlaw beer gardens in certain pubs, but there was such a backlash about that from the hospitality trade, because it would have closed down even more venues, more pubs, by not allowing people to smoke outside. That they stepped down on that for the moment, but the anti-smoking movement, and it's not only in the UK, I know it's worldwide, America, Australia, Canada, some countries are even worse than others, but we're all to some extent experiencing this anti-smoking hysteria. One of the mistakes I feel that they've made is they lump all forms of smoking in together. There's no distinction between smoking a bowl of expertly crafted and high quality tobacco leaf in a pipe, in which you don't inhale it into your lungs, but you enjoy the smoke, you take your time. And I believe that there are health benefits to moderate pipe smoking. I mean, if you puff away at a pipe 24 hours a day and inhale that into your lungs, that there will be consequences long term on your health. That's pretty much obvious. But I believe that if you take time with your pipe to enjoy the aspect of pipe smoking, and to enjoy what is actually an historic pastime, and allow it to slow you down, to de-stress you, then I believe there can be health benefits. But by lumping cigarettes and cigars and pipe tobacco all in together, it's just this downer that society seems to have at the current time on smoking, and it's getting worse and worse. And I can see a day, it scares me to think of it, but I can see a day when smoking becomes illegal. I don't know what's going to happen to our prisons then. They're overcrowded enough as it is. Can you imagine, you're in 20 years' time, you're in your cell, your cellmate's in the next bed to you, and you get friendly with your cellmate, you start chatting, you find out he's in for multiple murder maybe, or something like that, and he says, what are you in for? And you say, oh, smoking a pouch of condo tobacco, But I saw a t-shirt once many years ago someone was wearing, and it was during the early days of the smoking ban first being introduced, and it said, the slogan on the t-shirt was, smoking is healthier than fascism, which is an interesting point. I mean, if it's truly about health, public health, then
Come on, kids. If you want to grow up fast, take one of these. One puff and they'll soon be in my grasp.
Not so fast, nicotine. If you want to go up fast, take one of these. With my...
the government needs to, why don't they outlaw obesity? Let's make being obese illegal. Let's totally outlaw alcohol. It's insane. I mean, a perfect example is to look at the last century when two Germans were born. Two German men who would happen to define the 20th century, and their actions still resonate to this day. And that was Adolf Hitler, the dictator, the fascist dictator, and Albert Einstein, the peace-loving scientist. Now, both of these men held strong opinions on smoking. Hitler absolutely despised tobacco, and Germany, under Hitler's rule, started one of the first anti-smoking campaigns. Hitler was a fervent anti-smoker. Einstein also held strong opinions about smoking, but his opinions differed widely from Adolf Hitler's. Einstein considered pipe smoking to help him in concentrating. It allowed him to fully focus on whatever problem he was working on at the time. So, let's go figure, which camp do you belong in, Albert Einstein's or Adolf Hitler? But yeah, Hitler absolutely despised smoking, not only pipe smoking, but any forms of smoking. He absolutely despised tobacco. And the way that it's gone now, the governments all over the world are trying to, they're not brave enough to take a stand and say, right, tobacco use is illegal. They're not brave enough to do that, but what they do, and they try to tax it out of existence. They raise in tax to absolutely silly levels. Again, they're hurting the people who can least afford it. I mean, I don't think pipe smoking is a problem. I think the problem is with cigarettes. Mass market cigarettes, which all the chemicals that they add to cigarette tobacco. I mean, I am conscious now of the health risks associated with smoking. How could you not be? It's constantly being presented in the media. But when you read these reports about smoking, they're so clinical, they're so matter-of-factual that they don't give any context at all. When they're reporting on smoking does this or smoking does that, they don't discuss the fact of someone who has several bowls a week of good quality tobacco in a pipe and doesn't inhale it into their lungs. They don't take that into question. There's never been a study like that. And nowadays pipe smoking has become so niche that I do it quite often. If I'm in town, and it's a nice day and I'm waiting to say for my wife in the shops or whatever, I'll sit on a bench somewhere and smoke a pipe. I get various looks from people, funny looks from some people. Some people look at you with disgust, like, how dare you do that? But others come over to you and start up a conversation, say, I've never seen anyone doing that for many years. I mean, these days you see more people vaping than you do smoking a pipe. In fact, you see more people vaping than you do smoking cigarettes. It just shows that the truth doesn't really come into it. There's an aspect of smoking which is very, very bad for you. The health is very detrimental to your health, and that's what they stick on. They don't allow for any context. Every form of smoking, if you listen to government guidelines, is exactly the same, when we know it's not. To sit back and relax with a pipe at the end of a day, end of an hard day, it's a moment, you know. It does de-stress you and it does relax you. You can meditate with your pipe. It is. If we can't bow down to the authorities that say what we are doing here is harmful to not only myself but people around me. Why is it? I mean, I'm not harming anyone else by sitting here enjoying my pipe. You could argue, well, you're harming yourself. But as I say, there's no context with that statement. It's too absolute. I mean, I'm an active person. I do a lot of hiking. I walk miles and miles over the mountain. I don't suffer with any problems with my chest. I don't suffer with breathing problems. And yet I've been smoking pipes on and off for several decades now. I was suffering from chest problems about 8-9 years ago when I was a cigarette smoker. But when I gave up the cigarettes, using a vape, I gave up my pipe as well during that period. I didn't intend to give up pipe smoking, but I was afraid to smoke a pipe because I needed to give up to break my dependence on cigarettes. So I figured that a pipe might lead me back down the road to cigarettes. So for many years, perhaps 3 or 4 years, I didn't touch a pipe. I solely used my vape, which gave me that nicotine hit. Nicotine being the active ingredient within tobacco, which is the addictive part, although nicotine itself is not bad for you. But after I started to consider myself, yeah, I'm fine, I'm done with cigarettes now, I'll never smoke them again. Because I was smoking cigarettes a lot. I was going through a pouch of tobacco, 30 grams of tobacco in a day to a day and a half. So I would estimate that as being 50 to 60 roll-up cigarettes a day. And I was getting short of breath, and now that doesn't happen. I went without my pipe for over 3 or 4 years. And that's another aspect which is interesting, because even now, when most days I'll have a couple of bowls of good pipe tobacco, but if the weather's bad or I just don't feel like it, I might not smoke my pipe for days. So this is not addictive in the sense of cigarettes are. And the pipe now is starting to ease me off my vaping. Pipe smoking is a hobby that if you want to enjoy it, then you should enjoy it. If you want to experiment with it as a hobby, then you should experiment with it as a hobby. You shouldn't allow anyone else to dictate how you live your life.
Please come back soon.